the first point. And then we will decide. It is not me as the leading candidate who decide. We are a parliamentary group. We decide by majority. Okay. I think it's a major mistake.
That's
if
very
they
clear.
do it, but then there is no government in the Netherlands yet.
Okay, thank you very much for this interview, Mr. Gozzi.
Thank you very much.
Good. Mr. Gozzi?
Thank you, Annelies.
Yes.
This is the Eurovision Debate 2024 coming to you live from Brussels with the official lead candidates for the position of European Commission President. No matter where you stand politically, there is one topic that you cannot avoid: climate and environment. And we will not avoid it either. This is our next segment.
With recent deadly floods and wildfires, Europe has been no stranger to the predicted impacts of climate change. The EU response has been its Green Deal, a roadmap of measures designed to ensure climate neutrality by 2050. All across Europe, there are signs of the shift towards renewable energy. They argue Brussels is moving too quickly, imposing new environmental rules and form-filling on a still fragile economy.
Well, as we heard in the video, it's not only farmers who have concerns about the way climate policies are being implemented. Many businesses also worry about extra bureaucracy. So the question is, how can the European Union meet its climate goals without damaging economic growth? Ursula von der Leyen, this is your question, please.
We have seen that climate change is a fact, and this is the reason why I put the long-term perspective to have climate neutrality by 2050 in this mandate. Everybody agreed. The member states, the parliament, everyone agreed. So this is cast in law. Now we have built the framework, the legal framework, to get there, the roadmap that is so necessary. And indeed, now we are in a phase where we have to implement it, where we have to make sure, and this is why we have the dialogues with industry and with the farmers, to ask them, what is it what you need to reach climate neutrality? What is the farmers' dialogue, for example? The answers are very clear from the farmers. They say, we want to get there, but please, we want to move from conditionality to incentives. We want to move from massive reporting to, for example, modern technologies like drones. Let me hit on my button, then I have another 30 seconds.
You want to go?
Yes.
Well, it happened for the first time that you want to prolong your answer. Okay, you have extra seconds. Please go ahead.
Let's go from, we are leaders in clean technologies.
Seconds, but a good choice. Mr. Schmidt, the same question goes to you. Can the climate goal be implemented without damaging the economic growth?
No, I think that the right climate policy can enhance a new type of sustainable growth. But this is not for free. It's form to decarbonize our industry, our agriculture, on the right climate policy.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Unless someone wants to use their card, we're going to move on. Annelies?
Indeed, because as you know, we've mentioned it a couple of times now, what's happening here on stage is being followed not only here and in Brussels at large, but in 26 European countries, as I said before. Here they are. Hello, all of you, looking good out there. For the next question on climate and environment, let's hear what Madrid wants to know.
Hola, buenas tardes desde Radio Televisión Española. Good evening from the Spanish public broadcaster RTVE. I'm Igor Gomez. As you can see, there's a large audience here following the debate, and we have a very specific question about this topic. I'm here with Carlota. She's 21 years old. She's from Ourense in Galicia. You're studying political science and international relations, and you have a question on climate change.
Yep. Good afternoon. So my question is, as you properly said, the framework of the Green Deal has already been set up. So what are the next steps to fight against climate change in Europe? What are the specific policies that your party will implement to accelerate the green transition? We know the importance it has on society, industries, and businesses.
Thank you very much, Spain. Yes, a very pointed question, I think, a very urgent question. Terry Reintke, what is your answer?
And very easy to answer in 45 seconds, but I will try. I think the first point, having a green industrial deal. I come from an industrial area in Germany, and I can see what kind of potential the Green Deal has for big companies who are producing different products, who are seeing that there are chances in green technology, in green industry, and we need to follow what we have started and really enable them to put that into practice. The second point that we urgently need is a reform of the EU's agricultural policy, because we see that the farmers cannot live off what they are producing anymore. We need sustainability when it comes to climate, when it comes to the environment, but also when it comes to farmers' incomes, and for that we need to change the way how we distribute subsidies in Europe. And the last point, none of this will be possible, and we all know it, if we are not going to massively invest. We will only make this possible if we invest from a European level to build the infrastructure that we need for this transformation.
Okay.
But if we do that, I also want to say this continent can be the front runner when it comes to climate neutrality and competitiveness in the future.
Thank you for that. Same question to you, Mr. Gozzi. The lady in Spain was asking for specific policies. What do you suggest?
Well, with the Green Deal, we have made the choice of a green and technology neutrality, implementing this with more pragmatism and dialogue with youth, with business, with farmers, with citizens. It is not farmers and citizens that must pay for the green transition, so we must create further new owned resources. We have started, but it's not enough. We have to go along this way, and we have to make our single market more sustainable for producer and consumer, to simplify renewable energy projects, to ensure a real right to repair, to ban planned obsolescence and greenwashing. And this is very good, win-win for consumer and for the planet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gozzi. And let me just check, Mr. Bayer, you were not planning to use your card, were you?
No, I did not.
Okay. No, just checking, making sure. Martin.
Sure. Jakob is from Denmark. He's a first-time voter. He's 20, and he's with us in the audience. Jakob, please.
God eftermiddag. The past 5 years, the European Parliament has implemented a lot of green and sustainable legislation. But in order to ensure planet for my generation's future, we need to be way better at reusing old material. So my question is, what concrete proposals do you have to ensure a union-wide circular economy? Thank you.
Thank you, Jakob. Mr. Bayer, you didn't press the card, but now you have the floor. Please.
Thank you very much. First of all, I think there cannot be any contradiction or paradox between a green economy and an efficient economy. We need the ecological transformation. But in order to make sure the ecological transformation, we need investment. We need a new industrial model. We need a new energy model. We make sure that people can make this transition in social security. Social security, social justice is not a nice to have in this context, and that requires money, 100 billion euro. And with the austerity measures which you introduce with the new regulatory frame on governance, financial governance, we won't have this. And that's why I say the first and most important thing is do away austerity and make place and give space for investment for the ecological transition.
Thank you, Mr. Bayer. So we have 2 cards now. Mr. Reinke was the first, please.
I would actually like to answer this question because I think it's a fantastic question. When we look at the Green Deal, we cannot stop by saying we need to get climate neutral as Europe. We also need to look at how we can build a circular economy, because the dependencies that we have seen on fossil imports from Russia, we cannot now repeat with, for example, being dependent on raw materials from other autocracies in the world. So how we can better recycle resources has to become a core issue in how we do business in Europe. And for me, a very concrete way of doing this would be to extend the ETS, so the emissions trading system, also to questions of resource use. Europe has shown that this is possible for emissions, and I think it should also be possible for resources.
Thank you very much. We're going to have a chance to talk about it in more detail in the spotlight that is coming up in a few minutes. But Mr. Gozzi, you pull up your card.
No, I also think it was an excellent question, and I think that is one of our successes, Renew. Because we have made the biggest step to make the single market more sustainable with us, with the Renew Commissioner, Reinders and Simpson, and we have introduced the fight for the right to repair. The right to repair now is a reality. You don't have to change your iPhone or your washing machine after 1 year if you want to repair it. We have finally banned planned obsolescence, and we know that planned obsolescence is the biggest unfair thing that we can do to consumer. This is circular economy. And you see how we can adapt our single market to meet the new needs and to go toward the future.
Thank you, Mr. Gozzi. Mrs. Ursula von der Leyen, you played your card, please.
I'm very happy to hear this discussion. Sandro Gozzi, I think if you want to be president of the European Commission, you should not single out commissioners. Stand by your college. This is very important. We have been successful because we've seen that last year, for example, for the very first time, we produced more electricity with wind than with dirty gas. We have seen the emission trading system that it was so successful. It is the growth strategy, the European Green Deal, because emissions have gone down by 32%, while the industry, the economy has grown by 67%. So it is a growth strategy that we have. And indeed, Mr. Bayer, we do invest massively in the European Green Deal.
Thank you.
If you take Next Generation EU, 40% of the 800 billions go in exactly circular economy, for example, or all the projects of clean technologies.
Thank you. And a quick roundup before we move on. Ms. Reinke left, Mr. Schmidt and Mrs. von der Leyen. Mr. Schmidt two. Mr. Schmidt two. I'm sorry, yes. Seeing too much from the sideways. And Mrs. von der Leyen, one remaining card. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Martin already referred to our next spotlight guest, if I may call it that. Ready, or you should be getting ready to answer Martin's questions. Terry Reintke. Quote comes from German singer and musician Herbert Grönemeyer.
The same rule applies to you, Ms. Reintke. You can address the audience and your potential voters through the camera right here. We have 1 minute, and then I'll have a few more questions to ask. Please go ahead.
Dear fellow Europeans, the European elections that are ahead of us are going to be crucial for the future of this beautiful continent. I myself come from a country where in the 20s and 30s of the last century, conservatives but also liberals underestimated the threat of the far right. I joined politics because I wanted us to make sure that we can never let that happen again. And for that, the European Union is key, because we have managed to build over the last decades a space of freedom, peace and prosperity in Europe. But this is at stake now, because the climate crisis is not waiting. Only together we can tackle the climate crisis, support green industry, create green jobs and create a future for all of us in Europe. Together we can do it. Choose courage. Choose green.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reintke. You want the Green Deal to be even stricter than what has been approved by the Commission. Yet you have seen, and the Member States, of course, but you've seen a huge backlash, we talked about it in the video, from farmers and others. So what do you tell them?
Look, I come from a farmer's family myself. Actually, my father is sitting in the audience. He grew up on a farm, and obviously I see the concerns that people have, and maybe the fear that they have